And if you're just joining us, then we're going to be doing some thumbnail sketches today. So thank you for turning up, and I hope you have a really nice time. And we're going to do the latest subject of the Caricaturama competition. So it's Emma Watson. So I'm just going to get out all of the reference I've picked out. And as for a subject to caricature, she's pretty tricky, I'd say, because her features aren't that conflicting. So they're all pretty symmetrical, and in terms of size, there's no big variation, so nothing stands out that you could pick on. And that kind of gives you too many options to exaggerate. So in a way, that makes it a very good subject for doing thumbnails and for working out your exaggeration. So there's absolutely no plan to do a finished sketch from this. This is literally going to be an hour of exploring different reference and how we can exaggerate. So how can we be funny with it when the thing to exaggerate isn't that clear? So I really like this reference here with the light shining through, and you can get her good profile features there. It's not too clear. Let's going closer with this one. It's not too clear the angle of the face. So the lighting around here is kind of distorting the forms a little bit, but you could probably work that out and make some adjustments to correct that as you go. So that might be an interesting one to go from, but I quite like this one as well, the sort of looking back over a shoulder shot. So what do we choose to exaggerate? Very good question. So let's pick out a paper. I think I've got enough reference up there. I'm going to close these ones here. So they don't get in the way. I can always open them again. Okay. So I'm going to have a go with this one first. Move everything else to one side. But it's good to have all reference from all angles so that you can make sure there's a decent pen on there. So you can get a good idea of the forms from all directions. So I'd say she's got quite big eyes, or she's got, you could exaggerate her from the eye level. So and she's got quite a pronounced bridge to her nose, so try and capture that. And the tip of her nose is pretty small, so that's what we're looking for there. So the eyebrows as well be something to exaggerate, perhaps. Quite interesting eyebrows. So the eyebrows and the eyes, and then make everything else smaller. And her bottom lip kind of protrudes out as well, so that's quite characteristic. So we're going to try and get that into our thumbnail. And the way she curls her mouth. So you notice in most reference she's got this upturned, sort of lopsided smile slightly. Lips in there. So this stage is all about exploration. And a pointy chin. At first, when I first started looking around for the reference, her chin was one of the first things I was seeing. But that's when I was looking at her face on and profile. And then the more I looked at her, the more I started going for or being gravitated towards the eyebrows. And the relationship between the eyebrows and the bridge of the nose. So, I mean, she hasn't got really big eyes, so you make them smaller. So, yeah, as always, if you've got any questions, then fire away. So, the hair would be pointing down. Make the eyes a little bit closer together. So if I wanted to move on from that thumbnail, because I've kind of got an idea of which parts I'm exaggerating, so all the elements are there. You know, if I wanted to put the neck in, then I could put that there. So if I was going to exaggerate from the neck down, how would I develop from that? Because there are some things I can see where I can push the exaggeration a bit more. Let's move in closer. There. So still working from this reference. I kind of like the angles on that one. So let's get that bit there. So just looking at the bigger shapes, so eyebrows there. Fairly long with the nose. So a thumbnail is really just where you do the big adjustments. make this smaller as well. So because we want to try and squint at these, we're squinting at that. So just keeping it really loose and almost cartoony. So it's almost like you've got a you're doing a life drawing session, and you've only got a few minutes to draw each pose. So then this would be sort of done with that, and then on to the next one. So we can have a look at doing from this one. If I was going to work from this reference, maybe I would actually get, there is another one I took, I'll have to reverse it. Because this is cropped at the back, so I'd want the back of the hair as well. Let's minimize that one. Okay, so we'll just work from this smaller one for now. So you can see, let's get this one up again. You can see the difference between the thumbnails and the pose. So because I started with the I think it was the head shape first, the chin, and you know, the pose of the head really isn't working. It's kind of too rotated that way. And because I started with the neckline here, this pose would work far better in terms of nailing that expression and getting all the features to line up and everything else. So, you know, we've sorted out a major construction problem early on. So, you know, profiles can be relatively easy. It's giving you piece of paper, and let's rotate it. I'm sure there's a shortcut for that. I can't remember what it is right now. So, thumbnail of this one, we're going to do the hair. There's the relationship between the hair and her nose. And the way her chin kind of comes out now. So a bit too big on my hair. you could, if you're going to choose to do the full body, then you could work out at this early stage if you want to do the legs longer, shorter. Probably shorter, better, because you exaggerate the head. So again, it's like a life drawing session. You just researching shapes and proportions. Just keep coming back on that layer. So I'm probably not going to carry on with this one. I'll just what I could do with this is go closer on the head and just do a thumbnail of the head first, and then do a thumbnail of the head and body, because you're kind of exploring different relationships. So you've got a relationship between the hair and the face, and then the whole head and the body. So sometimes it's good to separate your thumbnails. And this is often the case if you're doing illustration as well. I've done that quite a bit in the past. So I haven't got the head there, so I'll have to have two together. Okay. Not feeling it right now. Something about this this pose is really not doing it for me. I was much happier with this one. Although, you know, it's good lighting, and and this is good, fairly good resolution photo, colors, but it doesn't really do anything else for me. It doesn't really, I can't really see her in this very much. Her personality isn't coming out in it. It's kind of, in terms of expression, it's quite dead. So, you know, that's why I'm not really feeling the thumbnails, and I don't want to take them any further. So I'm going to say goodbye to that one. Right. And I'm much keener to carry on with this one, to develop this. So if I was going to develop that one, how would I do that? Let's do another sketch. So we'll do another slightly bigger thumbnail, but you know, I want to keep the essence of the first one. So the main pose is the looking over the shoulder. So if you want to try and capture that. So much smaller chin. Shoulders up a bit more. So I'm still trying to get a feel for positioning of features and trying to work the relationships between the features as well. Oh, sorry. Right, we've got a question. So, Pitania, or Pitania, sorry if I've pronounced that correctly. No. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. From Angela. Hello, Angela. Says, hi, Paul. I've been told that my thumbnails are sometimes better than the finished piece because they're energetic, and when I've painted it, loses something. Do you have any tips to keep that initial freshness? Yeah, well, I was going to say, as I was doing this, when I first started this as maybe a preparation for sort of moving on from this thumbnail, it was starting to feel a bit stiff, and it was something wasn't feeling right. I was feeling too controlled by the fact that it should be good, and so that's why I changed the brush, and and then just treated it as another thumbnail. So, and just try to loosen it up, and not, it's more about not worrying about the finished product. Because with a thumbnail, it's not going to be a finished product. You don't have to share it with anyone, and but if you're working towards a finished painting, or if you're in that mindset, then it can stiffen you up, and so it's about freeing your drawing hand to do what it wants to do, not what you want it to do. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to look at this as an overall thumbnail again, and not get too hung up on the fact that it's a finished piece, or that it should be a finished piece. So I'm still sort of looking at it from a distance, and the more you worry about getting it looking really good, and like this is going to be my best piece ever, then the more you're going to tighten up, and so reminding yourself that the whole process is a sketch, and that it's not finished until well, when is a piece finished? It's never finished. Like Picasso said, or others as well, it's been quoted by many, the work of art's never finished, it's only abandoned. And it's very, very true. So I even though I'm kind of happy with this one, I might decide to abandon it and then do another one. Because I think that there's something about the pose that I'm not quite liking. The head, it's not quite there. So there's no shame, if you like, in getting rid of something and starting again, because I think we think that we're and Angela says yes, that makes sense. Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, but there's no shame in abandoning something because we think that we failed, or that we're a less of an artist because we've ditched something. So even though I've done this one, if I'm aware that that pose isn't quite right, then rather than thinking, oh well, I'm I'm a really good artist. I should be able to finish this and then carry on with this one. You know, a good artist would say, well, that's not good enough. Let's do another one. So that's what I'm going to do now. Right. Because I kind of like the pose here. I like the way the eyebrows were positioned, and so I can develop it better than that. Oops. I'll do that. So let's. I think what might be distracting me is because sometimes if you also, this is for Angela. Also, if you do a thumbnail that you really like, sometimes if you're looking at it, then if you've got it in front of you, then you can get distracted and think, oh, it's got to be like that one, and and sometimes it's better to just put that away and then start a new one. So I'm gonna reduce that. Start again. And then it's in your memory instead. So what was it about that initial reference that I liked? It was the angle of the head. Definition of the chin. Yeah, still not there. Yeah. I've lost it. Yeah, I really like this one. With digital, what you can do is blow this one up and then draw over it, or even paint from this one. So I could just blow this one up and use that silhouette. Just paint on top of this one. There's no reason why your thumbnail can't become your sketch for painting as well. For me, this is still sketching. I don't see this as any different. It's a thumbnail painting. It really sort of exaggerating that forehead. You know, I think sometimes I have a particular process, and I'll do things a certain way. Like I'll do a couple of thumbnails, and then I'll move on to a finished sketch, and then sometimes I'll I'll just paint straight onto a canvas, or just paint straight on like this. Or I think in terms of the process, it's not always about the process itself. It's about getting there, and if you can see that something's heading in the right direction, and doing something a certain way will help you get there, then do it within reason. I think if you're using too many cheats to get there, then you're denying yourself some learning in terms of skills. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to do a little critique now. So, I think we could progress with that a little bit towards the end, but we're going to look at Cliff Roth's work. So thank you, Cliff, for volunteering your work. And he's done a painting of Noam Chomsky. And to be honest, when I first saw it, I thought, well, what can I critique about this? It's a great piece. He's done a really good job on it. And the great likeness and a great exaggeration. I love the exaggeration choices. Bringing the nose down there and swashing his cheeks out, and it's a really fun piece. And I think the colours that come out slightly different here. I don't know what his original colours were, but I think that transferring from the web to Photoshop has done something to they look different online. But anyway, and good values overall. So at first I was struggling to what can I critique on it, but there are some things. I think structurally it's really sound overall, but there are some things that could be tweaked. So, for example, the glasses, and this sort of this right hand side, or sorry, his left side of the face has been extended a little too long or a little too far. So it's the foreshortening of the face needs some work, and it's a common thing that I see quite a lot. So if we did we just use the transform tool. Obviously, if I was painting it myself, I wouldn't do that. I would, it would be this is something that needs to be corrected during the sketch stage. But for the purposes of a critique, I'm using the transform tool. So, bringing it down to there would be more accurate, and also let's paint it back on. So that would come up slightly there as well. So the glasses could be raised a bit. Yeah, and these are minor tweaks. Also the cheeks. Bring that down a touch, but yeah, it's just fractions, just tiny adjustments. And also, if you look at his cheek, or his left cheek here, oops, sorry. And again, it's minor adjustments, but sometimes these adjustments can, make a difference between a good piece and a really great piece. So, just making sort of tiny adjustments to the cheek area there. It's not a smooth curve. But it's quite subtle. And that probably come down here. And just more rendering as well in places. There's you've done so much rendering here. You've done a great job on it, and it'd be a shame not to take it that little stage further. And I would put some warm tones, get some of those red tones in there as well. Not too many. But all these, you've got a good reference here. All these wrinkles and the pits and bits and pieces. Get right into those and do all of those there as well. Just make his skin a little more mottled. Just a bit more rendering. And look, nose hairs. Get some of those nose hairs in as well. So small brush. Have a nose hair sticking out. Hold on, let's get the resolution's too small, but I'll give it a go. So yeah, have some nose hairs sticking out there. There's another one sticking out there. You could have a few curly ones. Really have some fun with these nose hairs. What else can we look at? Okay, so next thing would be the hair as well. If you look at the highlights, it's just overall rendering of the hair. You've done a good job with it, but it can be taken so much further. Just to really finish it off, I haven't got this as a high resolution. I can only download the small file, but let's give it a go. And so just the values of some of these highlights here, and also this S shape you've got here on the hairline. Let's put it in a brighter color so you can see what I'm doing. So this S shape, it's not a natural shape for hair on the side of the face to form. You wouldn't normally see this shape here. It kind of looks, combined with this area here, the forms don't look as natural as they could be. And also a lot of his likeness is in, when you're doing his hair, is in the length of this section. So if you lengthen that, so you bring these bits down to here, and then this would come out to here, and you've got these straggly bits coming out here. I can't really do it with at this resolution, fortunately, but I will try. So you've got these bits coming out here, and then this curve would be coming more down here, and just a lot lighter on the hair, so more highlights. You get it whiter here, so just a bit more work, a little bit more time spent on it. Yeah, obviously I can't get my brush as thin at this resolution, but hopefully you get the idea. And also the back as well, so it's kind of missing some of these longer strands coming down. It's all part of his personality, how he does his hair. It's, you know, it tells you part of something about his routine in the morning, and so, you know, hair is not to be skimped on. And then this section here, this curly bit, I'm going to go to a bigger brush so you can see what I'm doing. So and you can, yes, you can't see the back of his hairline there, but it could do with sort of more randomness. So just softening some edges here and there. And maybe soften some of those edges as well. So just with, you know, with a light brush, just to, you know, get the attention away from his chin, because he hasn't really got a double chin there, or he's not got much going on there, but you know, it needs to be softened off. And then one more thing would be the transition at the back. You know, I think the colors, the background color is okay, but the way you've transitioned the background doesn't really, it kind of jars a little bit. So maybe sort of more brush strokes, and maybe bring the black into there a bit more, or vice versa. Maybe get a bigger brush so you can see some brush strokes, or put some texture on the brush stroke. You know, you've got this mottled effect, but it doesn't. It kind of looks like you're covering up what to do with the transition. And bring some of that color into there, maybe. Maybe bring in, sorry to paint over your signature, bring in some reds down there as well, just so that it isn't sort of like half black on this side, half red on that side. It was kind of a little too split. So I would maybe change that a little bit. So that's it. Generally, great piece. So good job. Right. So we've got a few more minutes. I can do a bit more sketching on here. So, okay, before I go today, just a reminder about Sketchivist. if you go to sketchbiz.com, I've put some clearer instructions on how to enter. There's a little bit of confusion as to how to enter your pieces. But if you go to the sketchbiz.com website and go to competitions, how to enter, then there's clearer instructions now. So you just paste a link into the message section of the website, or of the form, the email form, and then send. Or you can just email me an attachment to draw@sketchbiz.com. But it makes it easier for me and for collecting pieces if it's done through the website. But both will work. And it also makes it easier if everyone's following the same sort of entry procedure. I think there's more fairness there. But yeah, there's some great entries so far. So if you haven't checked them out already, go and have a look. Some really great pieces. So it's a lot of fun seeing them come in. So interesting sort of slope to her left eye. It's very different to the right one. So I can get the bigger. Going back to the bigger shapes, trying to get away from detail. Okay, so Phil says, hi Paul, I would love to talk more about backgrounds another day. Okay, so yeah, that might be one for another day. Because it can be tricky knowing if you're doing a straight portrait, such as this one, how to render the background. And I think the main rule of thumb is to, if it's illustrative, then you want to include, you want to give emphasis to things in the background as well. But if it's just a portrait, a single person portrait, then you want to create depth. So the main thing you're looking for is depth. So if you can create that between the background and the foreground, then go for it. So for instance, the lighter side of her face, make that darker. And sometimes sketchy is nice for the background as well. So just being random. And the more I work on this one, the more I like it. So we've got 2 minutes left. I said about Sketchfist. So yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's joining in these every week, and I wouldn't keep doing them if you didn't tune in, and just really grateful. Yeah, I think it's a nice sort of extra dimension to sharing your work rather than just posting a picture on Facebook, and it brings interaction into another dimension. So thank you for being a part of it. So, and also finally, one more thing before we go, if you've got any suggestions for future Hangouts, then please let me know, and leave a comment with your critique suggestions and anything you want to say. And thank you for listening, and I shall see you next week. Cheers. Bye bye.